Hello, we're Team Howl and Slam. Our group members are Eston,
Max,
Lilia,
and Jackson.
and we are the Animatronics team for Section 3.
For FEDD this year, we were tasked with building an animatronic battery-operated figure that was able to move on its own to perform a function, and we had to stay within a reasonable budget.
in this video, we will consider the engineering design cycle to recall what we did over the course of the project. The steps of the cycle are as follows. 1. Ask. 2. Imagine. 3. Plan. 4. Create. And 5. Improve.
For the first part of the design cycle, the ask phase, we had to ask ourselves a few questions before getting started. First, we needed to know how the animatronic would move and how we could make it move within a reasonable budget. We decided that Arduino was the most realistic option for this. For staying within budget, we would decide to borrow expensive things as to keep the price low while still creating a quality product. Finally, for the creative aspect of the project, we would need to brainstorm.
Here we began to brainstorm with the Imagine phase of the design cycle. This was in the early stages of the project's development, but we knew from the beginning that we wanted it to be Wolfpack themed and animated. Eventually, we decided it would be best to embody the rivalry between NCSU and UNC, but how was still a mystery.
In this section, the planning phase, we settled on what we wanted the animatronic to be and how we would animate it. At this point, we decided to have a wolf repeatedly lifting a ram in spirit of the rivalry, and to do this, we would need to create multiple working designs before settling on the final one. We got to our final design efficiently by creating multiple designs, understanding what would work and what would not work, in designing the animatronic with both its function and budget in mind. For our design, we would create a skeleton consisting of a central support rod as well as 2 arm support rods, all coming from the base. Then arms would run off the support rod, which had hinges in the middle to be used as elbows. Finally, string was run through the rings on the arms from a motor that would spin and pull the arms up in one direction, and thus set them back down in another. Then we would cover the skeleton with the wolf plush toy and sew on the ram to the arms, thus animating the wolf and the ram.
This led us to the creation phase, which involved finally building the project and testing it out. To do this, we made sure we had enough time and stuck closely to our final design while building. We made sure to be extremely careful as to keep all of our materials intact. Once we finished building, we needed to take what we built and begin testing it for issues. For us, we had a problem with the mechanics of the skeleton, where one of the arms would not lift as much as the other, and the wire we used in the design would become too rigid, causing the motor to stop lifting the arm. 45. Okay, 45.
45.
360 divided by 8 is 45. So, if this works the way I think it does in my head, every step manages to rotate 45 degrees.
To address these issues, we would have to change the wire we used out for string, as well as create an artificial elbow to put in at the hinge so that the arms would lift evenly. This was part of the improvement phase, and to come to these conclusions, we had to understand our issues we had from testing and brainstorm new ideas.
For this project, we had several challenges along the way, but most of them boiled down into one of 3 categories. Either it was a problem with the design phase and having an issue visualizing the project, staying within the budget, or physical problems that arose from testing.
From our research, we found out what an animatronic actually was and how they worked, as well as Arduino mechanics, and finally Arduino software capabilities, which were all extremely important components of our project.
We had a very successful outcome and received honorable mention in the afternoon section with an overall score of 88 points.
If we could do it all over again, next time we would have tried to be a bit more mindful of our budget throughout the entirety of the project. We would have started building a little bit earlier than we actually did, and we would have done a little bit more research up front to try and make sure that the wolf was strong enough to do what we wanted to do with it.
To the 2019 freshmen, when you begin your FEDD project, stick to a plan from the beginning, understand what things will cost, and seek out outside perspectives on what will and won't work. If you follow these tips, you should have a successful FEDD project.